fair warning, this video gets very weird.
I identify as an 8-year-old girl called Denise. Therefore, I am an 8-year-old girl.
They believe they have a spiritual connection with animals. The message to parents is becoming very clear. You either accept your child's new identity or you are a bigot who never really loved your kid at all. There is a clip from the Dr. Phil show that I want to share with you guys today. And I want to know what you think of the father's reaction in this video. Let me know down in the comments.
Let's sit right here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now, Gary.
I'm hurt bad. Really bad.
What do you have to say?
Why?
I just want you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong.
He feels like he let you down. He's gone back to the point of, he says, one time for Halloween.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
He dressed up like a girl. I thought it was funny at first. No, I certainly don't. I thought it was Halloween, so I just went along with it. Actually pinched him on his behind and said he made a good-looking girl, but I was only joking. He's not a good-looking girl. He's a very beautiful man.
I cannot even begin to imagine the humiliation this guy has to feel. Not only because he has to deal with this at all, when people are like, oh my God, so-and-so had a transgender son. It's inevitable that people will somehow attribute that to your parenting, and it oftentimes is due to childhood traumas or, bad parenting. Not saying that it is in this case, okay, or in every case. Because sin is sin, and it's not the parent's fault that the child is doing this, but that's how people view it sometimes. And it does, whether it's fair or not, it will reflect on him as a father. And that's devastating. And even the son is like, you didn't do anything wrong, but yet it's almost like he's mourning his child. It's almost like he has to mourn the death of the son that he raised. This is a person who is very lost and very confused. And the sin of elevating his own feelings and desires over the reality of what God made him to be. He's not submitting himself to God. He's submitting himself to the worldly definition of what his identity is. Which is in this case, God made me to be a transgender person, and this is who I really am, and Dad, you should accept me no matter what, blah, blah, blah. There is an element of not only sin and lostness and confusion, but there is this element of narcissism as well. And funny enough, under this, there is an analysis by Matt Walsh. I will link it in the description where he talks about narcissism. He brings up another individual named Rachel Levine. And if you don't know who Rachel Levine is the United States Assistant Secretary for Health and is a professor of pediatrics and psychiatry, and was also named USA Today's Woman of the Year in 2022. But this is a man. This is not a woman. This is a man who's very confused. And this person was married and had children when they transitioned. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, wife, that I've been with forever. I am a woman now, so you're a lesbian, and deal with it. Hey, children, I know I used to be your father, but now I'm your mother. Just deal with it. And if you're a good person and you're a loving person, then you will accept me as I really am. So yeah, I do think there's an element of narcissism here. But one of the more interesting things that I came across when looking at this whole, Dr. Phil segment was a comment down here. This person, Pixels and Polygons, says transgenderism is the first in a pentad of postmodernist psyops to destabilize the fundamental components of civilization, which will anesthetize us to an even more absurd onslaught against reality. Okay, so that was a lot of big words. And then he he points out 5 different things. He says transgenderism, transableism, transracialism, transageism, and transspeciesism. And I had to look it up because I have seen stories come out within the last, 5 years or so, hitting every single one of these. Obviously, we hear about transgenderism constantly. So, don't even need to get into it. But did you know that transableism is a thing? And if you don't know what transableism is, let me explain. Transableism is a term that refers to the desire to acquire a disability through choice rather than happenstance. This move may be as a realignment of their physical body with their perceived identity or as a form of body modification for aesthetic or other reasons. So if you want to identify as somebody who is an amputee, you will seek surgery to get something amputated. And it's real, and people actually suffer with this mental condition. And if you don't believe me, this is actually a thing that is happening, maybe not as frequently as transgenderism and gender affirmation surgery, but here you go, from BBC London.
When I said, can I get my leg amputated, what was your first reaction?
In my mind, I think it was something for the future rather than now. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that decision was becoming real. And that was, I remember that moment. That was quite a hard moment.
According to, if we just apply the same rhetoric from the transgenderism, the messaging to parents about accepting a transgender child, because it doesn't line up with the reality. It doesn't line up with how God made them and how the design for their life was supposed to be. Anything your child identifies as, even if it's destructive, even if they will get their leg amputated to prove that they are really this identity, you as a parent have to accept it and be loving. And you see the emotion. The mother saying how hard it was. It still breaks her heart. It has to. So what is the difference between transgenderism being accepted and pushed, and we can have kids get surgeries and you're not a loving parent if you don't accept it, and this, right? Obviously, this girl is mentally unstable, and that is something sad. That is something that should be prayed over, that Jesus heal her from the inside before she continues to maybe chop off her other leg or an arm. I'm not sure. But it's sad, but that doesn't mean that's her identity. You feel me? So anyway, let's move down that other list. Then we have Then we have transracialism. Transracialism is essentially where you can say, well, I identify as a black woman, but you're a white woman with blonde hair. Or I identify as a Korean, but you are a black person. Not at all Korean at all. And people are doing this. So this is a quick look through this article from the Daily Mail. Race Fakers of America Unmasked, from the infamous Rachel Dolezal to white Muslim activists claiming to be of South Asian, Arab, and Latin descent. These are the most outrageous racial imposters. So we have Raquel Saraswati, who was outed as white last week after claiming for years that she was of Latin, South Asian, and Arab descent, and was the chief inclusion officer at the America Friends Service Committee, and was born Rachel Elizabeth Seidel to white parents with European heritage, according to an investigation into her background. So she used this for career gain. And then her mom was like, no. I'm pretty sure it was her mom who outed her. Yeah, her mother, who confirmed her daughter was not a person of color, told The Intercept, "I call her Rachel. I don't know why she's doing what she's doing." So called her out, essentially. Okay, so Rachel Dolezal was outed after 10 years of posing as a black woman, was a white woman who posed as a black woman for 10 years until she was outed. And honestly, like, it was embarrassing. Oh, she runs an OnlyFans account for racy pictures of her feet. Oh my gosh. So it destroyed her life when she was outed. But by the logic of this, if we are okay with somebody claiming that they are a woman when they're actually a man, like that first clip that we saw, then what's so wrong about this lady saying that she's black? What's so wrong about the other lady getting her leg chopped off because she has a mental disorder that tells her that she identifies as an amputee, but she's not really an amputee, so she has to become an amputee? What is the difference? What is the difference? Why did this lady lose everything? But in the other circumstances of mental disorder, we are told that we're bigots if we don't accept it. So there's more people on the list. Obviously, this is going on, but these people are not treated like how transgenders are treated. They're kind of mocked in a way, which they should be because it's ridiculous, right? But it is a little hypocritical to mock these people, but not the transgender community, who is just as confused and just as lost in the dark. So now back to our list. We're on number 4, transageism. Transageism has a lot of overlap with transgenderism, and it usually is adult males who become transgender but become like little children, which is super creepy. Unfortunately, I am not making this up. All right, so I am going to play a super fast portion of Misha Petrov's video, Trans Age Reacting to Adults Who Are Age Fluid. I will link the full video in the description, so I encourage you to watch it if you're interested.
I'm a full-time baby girl.
He dedicates 8 hours a day role-playing as a toddler.
I'm in baby mode on and off all day.
And Jess's daddy is caring for her.
I'm 20, but not really because I'm 5.
Adopted mommy and daddy who are totally comfortable with me being a little girl.
I identify as an 8-year-old girl called Denise. Therefore, I am an 8-year-old girl.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what's worse. The people who have the sickness of the brain to want to be those things, or the people who are enabling them. Because they know this is not real. They know this is not grounded in reality. And yet you have the guy who's taking care of the 5-year-old. Like, are you serious? But I bet you sleep with her, right? Like, are you a pervert? Like, I don't understand. This is so disturbing. I don't get it. Oh. And back to our list again, number 5, transspeciesism. Yes, this is a thing. Please don't look it up on TikTok because it's really weird. And yet, with that being said, I'm about to show you 2 really, really, really disturbing TikToks. So brace yourself, say a little prayer before you watch this. Okay, so the first one is somebody who calls themselves a Therian. I've also seen otherkin. I don't know if there's a difference, or I don't really care because this is all fake and made up. But the text is saying, no, you can't identify as an animal and have species dysphoria. And the description of the video says, sorry, but I'm literally a hyena. They also have one of their tags as alter human, which to me is like, Bro, that feels demonic. I don't know. Like, I don't want to just throw out the word demonic, but like, there's something really demonic about this whole trans speciesism, which, like I said, it's all a deviation from reality. So how are the other ones any different? And then we have this really disturbing video. Oh man, it's pretty disturbing. And I'm just not even going to play the music because copyright, but also because it adds to the creepiness. But I'm going to read the captions for you. It says, the description says, been seeing a lot of hate towards Therians.
Hashtag furry safe place. Hashtag furry fandom. Hashtag skull dog. Hashtag furry TikTok. Hashtag Therians are valid. Furries of TikTok. Furries just want to have fun.
Okay, you get the idea. They're weird. It says, Therians don't think they're animals. They don't want litter boxes in schools. Let them be. Actually, they do. They believe they have a spiritual connection with animals. See, they are openly admitting spiritual connection. And we know as Christians, the reality of spiritual warfare is God and his angels and Satan and his demons. So all this spiritual connection with animals, this is demonic. It has to be demonic. All right. And then it says, or they believe they were an animal in their past life. They're doing what makes them happy. Okay. Enough of this image because it's so weird. Oh my gosh, so weird. Let's go back to the article. but essentially this guy is saying these 5 things are a psychological operation to destabilize America, the components of civilization. Actually, it's bigger than America because this is like Western civilization. And if you know about Western civilization, it is rooted in Judeo-Christian values. So whatever entity, and we can call it a foreign nation, we can call it whatever, it could be a foreign nation that's being motivated by the darkness to destroy and conquer for their own glory. But essentially, if you look at the reality of it, it is an absurd onslaught against reality. It is deception. It will destroy our civilization. There is absolutely no doubt. So when we come back to this whole video of the father breaking down at the sight of his transgender son, when we see this, for some reason in our mentality now, this is acceptable. This person is so brave. The father is such a bigot and he doesn't, I mean, just the comment underneath it, right? Weak, pathetic excuse for a father. What a stupid effing circus. Weak, pathetic excuse for a father because he's heartbroken that his son has deviated so far from reality. I think you're a weak, pathetic excuse for a person. Oh my gosh. So this is the downfall of our society. It starts with a lot of things, but one of the big critical things right now is transgenderism, and we are pushing this on children. And as a parent, as a Christian, I am going to speak out against it. And the point of this video is to help you see that this is a really slippery slope. And when I talk about transgenderism, when I talk about Dylan Mulvaney, when I talk about these things, it's not because I'm a trans hater or I'm obsessed with it. It's because this ideology is pushing itself in every facet of society, that now we have churches who are telling you that it is totally biblical to be transgender and that anyone who opposes you in the church is not following Jesus. So this is a critical message. There is no time like the present to start speaking out against this stuff. And then the other realities are already present, right? The trans-ageism, trans-ableism, trans-speciesism, they're already here. They're just not as dominant yet, but it's only a matter of time. The Bible does say that we will encounter a lot of doctrines of demons. This is more than a psyop against Western civilization. This is a demonic spiritual attack against God's creation. So in a lot of ways, what we're seeing with these new identities is a real fundamental misunderstanding of how God designed us and who he made us to be. And it's easy to get confused these days when we have pastors coming out and giving these crazy false doctrines like this pastor here, where I debunk his whole argument about God made you gay. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. And as always, God bless.